If food isn't the problem in and of itself, remember it's just food, it has no power, it's just food. If food is not the problem, then what is? You know what the problem is, friends? Gluttony. That is a nasty word. Whenever I think of the word gluttony, I think of like a can of lard, just bleh, like bleh, just some ugly word. Gluttony. It's a nasty, disgusting word in a sense. And I had to actually do some digging to find out what it meant, because all I ever knew of gluttony was what I pictured from like a Roman food orgy back in the day. You know, remember when you'd hear how they would stuff themselves and then make themselves throw up? Bulimia is not a new thing. And then they would stuff themselves some more. That's all I ever knew of the word gluttony. And so when I actually went to start to try to define it and understand it better, I found this definition, and I think it's kind of interesting. I have it on a sticky note, and I'm going to read it to you. It simply says, one given habitually to greedy or voracious eating or drinking. One given habitually to greedy or voracious eating or drinking. And so when I think of that, two words jump at me from that definition, habitually. Okay, every one of us has at one time or another overate. You know that feeling when your stomach is just way too full and you had perhaps a good meal, or maybe not even that good of a meal, but you just felt like eating more and you did? Every one of us has had that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about habitually overeating food. And that is the first essence of gluttony. And then the second word that jumps at me from that definition is voraciously and greedily. You know, when you're greedy towards something, it's almost as if it's never enough. It's as if it's insatiable. It's just never enough. You think about a greedy person, no matter what you give to them, they want more. No matter what you offer, it's not enough. Well, it really is the same with gluttony. No matter how much we eat, it's just not enough. There's no sanity towards it. Gluttony really pushes us to do some crazy things. You know, the Bible actually talks about gluttony, and I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it did. It does. In Proverbs chapter 23, I'm going to read it for you right now. Proverbs chapter 23 has a teeny little verse, and it simply says this: don't be with the heavy drinkers of wine or with gluttonous eaters of meat, for the heavy drinker and the glutton will both come to poverty. Oh, wow. What does that mean? Well, obviously, heavy drinkers, we know the problems that come from drinking heavily. We know the problems that come from alcoholism. We understand all that. But I never knew that gluttony was put in that same phrase as a heavy drinker. And so for me, that really smacked me in the face, because you know what? Friends, I think we have this attitude, especially in America, that, you know, it's just food. What's the big deal? Wink, wink, you know, no problem. I could be doing much worse things. And certainly that's true. But you know what? God loves us so much. He loves us so much. And the word is true. You will come to a type of poverty if you continue in these ways of gluttony. What might that poverty look like? Well, poor health. You know, I mean, your health may really take a beating because you continue to eat compulsively and gluttonously. Poor self-image. There's nothing worse than looking in the mirror and hating everything that you see. I know, I've been there. There's nothing worse than that feeling of going out and being ashamed and trying to climb to the back of every picture and always trying to cover yourself in a certain way. That's a really miserable way to have to live. And in a sense, that really is part of the poverty that it brings. Not to mention the condemnation, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, and just the loathing that gluttonous behavior brings. So the Bible actually speaks very strong on it. And it says it will bring you to poverty. Gluttony will bring you to poverty. Now, so let's flip the thinking here then to, if that's what gluttony is, then what is freedom? What's freedom?